Hey, what's going on? Just finished watching Damien's video, and he had talked about a couple of things, and I realized when I was on my rant the other night, I forgot to mention I got a few things and wanted to spend some time actually talking about comics and not about any of the other nonsense that's around it. A local guy who actually my brother grew up with. He owns a used music and movie shop in town. It's actually right by Galaxy Comics downtown, or not downtown, sorry, kind of North Kildonan, East Kildonan kind of area. So other side of town from where I am. I'm not sure why I'm telling you the area of the town. It's not like you know. Anyway, so he owns a music shop, and he's also part of the comic addicts, the comic groups. And he recently had a few sets of magazines, and one of the sets was a small chunk of Comics Journal for a really good price. So I grabbed them. I think there's 2 issues that I already have. I believe there was only 2 doubles in there for me, but again, it was a good deal. He threw in some extras as well too. Threw in a couple of just things that he had, you know, that maybe I'll pass on to Lillian or something to flip through. One of them was a Bart Simpson cartoon genius. I'm not the biggest Simpsons fan in the world. I mean, I used to watch the show and stuff, but I don't, it doesn't hold any special place for me by any stretch, but that'll be cool. I'm sure. I don't know if she'll get a kick out of it at this point or later on. He had a couple of coverless. What did I do with my glasses here? A couple of coverless comics. A Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, number 221 from October 1981. So that'll be kind of fun. Who knows? Maybe I can get some pictures out of there for some sort of collage or something. Who knows? Or again, just something for Lily to flip through and kind of have a look at. And then an Archie book from March of 1981. What is this? Life with Archie, issue 221. And we've talked about Archie before, I think in the, especially in the stream that we did with Dr. Monkeybot and DaCosta, just talking about Archie and how it's not something that I'm into at all anymore. I can appreciate some of the Dan DeCarlo art and stuff when I do see it. I do appreciate his style, but it's nothing, it doesn't interest me in the least anymore. But that said, I mean, out of all the comics that we would see, man, you'd see Archie comics everywhere. The grocery store, the convenience store, the drugstore, whether it was the digest size or whether it was these. So, I mean, the fact that, you know, that introduction to comics would have been potentially Archie to a chunk of people. You know, obviously when I was seeing Archie's, I was also seeing other comics, but I mean, Archie was something that was everywhere, and I did read it quite a bit when I was a kid. We bought the digests and stuff too. So that was something that was with me for a while. There was a new comic book day. Is this, or maybe it's not? I don't know what this is. Marvel Your Universe. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at here. Again, some of the art in here looks okay, but it's nothing that that's too amazing. Oh, hey, Chaos and Comics, Chris, how are you? I can't get into Archie, but I've heard it's gotten somewhat more interesting. Yeah, I hear you. And I mean, I'm the same way. I just can't get into it at all. It just, there's nothing there for me. So yeah, some big 128 pager. So nice of them to throw those things in. And then one of the other ones that was really interesting that I do really like, and it's a local Winnipeg comic called Big Break Comics. And my son goes to school with a kid, and his dad, Chris Chuckery, does the lettering in this one. And so it's copyright 1988. The Committee on Unplanned Pregnancy, which was based on Sargent Avenue in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada here, which isn't too far from where I live. So when I posted it on my Instagram and kind of got his attention on it, he said that it was the first work that he did. And I think he said the only time that he ever did lettering. So that's kind of cool. A little local. Written by Paul McNally, pencils, color design by Chris Slady, inks by Darren Marinek. The other names don't sound familiar to me, except there's a thanks to George Freeman, who lives here now, or has lived here for quite a while. And it's not bad art inside either. Kind of has shades of, and when I say shades, very, very loose shades of, Love and Rockets-ish type of style. There's a Snakes and Ladders game on the back. So more kind of an edu comic to some degree, but based out of Winnipeg. Very, very cool. I've never seen this before. It's in rough shape, but I don't mind at all. A little bit of Winnipeg history here, which is pretty amazing. And there's a couple other pages there. So I haven't given it a read yet, but I'll flip through it. One of the other free things he threw my way before we get into the stack of Comics Journal that I bought from him. I don't know if that says Harry Anderson's Joe 90, a hardcover book there. I guess it's one of those Thunderbirds-ish type of shows, and it's a collection of some comics, and it looks like there's some articles as well too. This is published 1968, Century 21 Productions, printed and bound in England by Gerald and Sons Limited in Norwich, owned by someone named Ronald Ferguson at one point. Where's that name there? It's above the yellow. Somewhere there, if you can see it over there. So this is kind of neat. Oh, sorry, knocking you over there. This is kind of cool. Fuck you, microphone. I love the kind of half-assed, really kind of shitty coloring in it. Everything is bleeding out of the edges. Really dig this. I'm very curious. I haven't looked into the show at all, but again, definitely like a Thunderbirds type of show going on here. So yeah, very, very, very cool freebie to get thrown in there. I dig this kind of stuff. Big Rat Binary Computer Program Stage 2. Sam Loover's Brain Patterns. And then we get more comics. And then some, I think I saw some articles here too. So The Small Invasion. Okay, so it's not I thought it might be a little bit of behind the scenes stuff, but it looks like it's another little story with some photos. So I don't know if it's a story based on an episode or not, but check out those miniatures. That's super cool, man. So yeah, that's a fun little book there. That's a very cool freebie. And then a stack of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, looks like 8 comics journals. And like I said, I believe there's 2 that are double. So I figured we'd just have a look through them. I don't think I have them in any sort of order. What does it matter, right? Continuing my kind of dive into, I don't know, eventually collecting a good chunk of the journal. I now have a lot more than I've caught up on reading. My reading of the journal has really fallen by the wayside, especially over the past little while where I found kind of good chunks at a time. There's always stuff that I want to read. In one of them we'll get to, there's a Steve Bissette kind of like 40-page interview that I would love to sit and read. I don't know. I'm looking at a couple of I'm looking at least one full magazine box, probably 1.5 boxes of just journal, which is great. I mean, they keep popping up for reasonable prices, so I will grab them. So what do we have here? We have issue number 125, October 1988. So Berkeley Breathed from Bloom County. I should have brought it downstairs. My daughter has a book, a picture book that he did as well. And what the hell is it called? It's about a pig and an elephant, and they become really good friends and kind of basically become lovers and move in together. It's a hell of an entertaining book. And yeah. Everybody will be the answer to that one. So the picture book is beautiful, and one of the things I like about his style, I mean, I remember Bloom County, but again, it wasn't one of those strips that I regularly looked forward to, and I didn't follow it very closely. But seeing his art in that kid's book and seeing the different styles, from what I remember, it has some painted stuff. It has some really kind of sketchy, comic booky looking stuff. It's got just a wide range of techniques in one book. And on top of it, it's a hell of a good book. It's really, really good. I remember reading it to my son a couple of times when he was young. And then Lillian, we've read it to her a few times. Makes me want to dig into some Bloom County again, and seeing this, who knows, maybe we'll have a flip through at some point and I'll read it. A nice Catalan Communications graphic novels ad on the back. Man, again, every time I see this stuff, I wish there was a place in town where, especially at that time, I could have grabbed a bunch of stuff on that page. This Goodbye is the only one that I have, I think. Yeah, I don't have any of that Bilal stuff. Torpedo, I've got a couple of single issues of Torpedo. Butterscotch, I see every once in a while. Out of the stuff on that page, the Butterscotch is the stuff that pops up. Really great. Who else do we have in here this issue? Let's have a flip through. Oh, Marvel loses the Champions trademark. Yo, Damien, how's it going, man? I just finished watching your video, I was saying, and I saw you going through Comics Journal, and I realized, and Inside Comics and stuff, and realized that in my last video, one of the things I did mean to talk about was show the Comics Journal issues that I got recently from a local guy. So we're just starting to flip through them. So Marvel loses the Champions trademark, which then turned into an Eclipse miniseries. I haven't read it, and it's funny. I thought that that's where it came from, but I didn't look into it. And then what was that? Hero Graphics or Heroes Comics. It also went to. What else do we got? Yeah, it looks like we have some Popular Defective, Leon Hunt on hard-boiled detective stories. So featuring El Bora. Some Charles Burns love there. Oh, little catalog. Here we go. Little insert catalog. The Fantagraphics 500 complete catalog, winter 1988 to 1989. That's pretty great. I've still got one or two Fantagraphics catalogs that you could get in the mail, that you could request by mail. I've got them in the archive somewhere. Should dig those out sometime as a little snapshot of what was going on at the time. And here we go. So here's the Berkeley Breathed stuff. Oh, hey. Fly in My Eye, an anthology of unparalleled confusion. I remember having one volume of this and loving it when I was a teenager. I don't have it any longer. As is a story with everybody, it's long since gone, sold, lent out, whatever happened. So yeah, I mean, Bloom County, again, nothing that I know It's a strip I don't know a lot about. I do know that it was in our papers, as it was in a ton of papers. It just was one of those strips that I never really read. So maybe that'll be an interesting article. I don't know how much patience I'll have for it, but who knows? We'll see if he catches me in a few pages and stick with it, and at least get to sample some of the strips. Some of the strips again. Some photos from San Diego Comic-Con. Oh, hey, look at that. Dan Clowes and Peter Bagg, Paul Chadwick, Hernandez, Jules Pfeiffer, Dennis Kitchen. Oh, boy. That's some good stuff right there. Yeah, did you read much Bloom County there, Damien? How many? So I guess, you know, it was the thing for us, definitely. The Sunday paper had the Sunday comic strips, the Sunday funnies or whatever. That definitely was something that I remember reading as a kid, you know, when my dad would kind of give up that part of the paper, hand it over to us. There's some activities and stuff, but I do remember that being a regular part of our Sundays around here. So here we go with, what do we got? Number 185 from March 1996. So this is the Steve Bissette interview. So Tyrant, Tundra, and Taboo. So like I said, it's about a 40-page interview with Mr. Bissette. So equaling the kayfabe interview that took place, which was, I think, their first one of that length, like three hours. Oh, here we go. And then what do we open up to? McFarlane buys Eclipse assets at auction. So that's the infamous turning point, or one of the turning points. Wow, crazy. That's very cool. And like you were saying in your video, Damien, it is interesting for that snapshot of what was going on at the time, and then also having the benefit of knowing exactly what's happening. Oh, Rez, how are you? Sunday papers were big, but I'd always skip anything that wasn't the 8 or strips I thought were funny. Yeah, it's pretty much the same with me. There was only a handful of strips that I read. Peanuts was definitely one of them. Far Side was another one for sure. That single panel. What do we got? Trouble Beneath the Surface at CAM. Kurtzman exhibit offers retrospective survey, sort of. So some Harvey Kurtzman stuff. Mickey Rodent in the side there. No, I don't know how that worked, Damien. I think that it's a very good question, and I don't quite know how to answer it, so maybe it's best that I don't. I thought that there was a mix. I thought that there was some deal. I don't remember the ins and outs of what their deals were, though, because I know that they also bought up, like, especially when a place like Pacific folded, they kind of picked up the issues to finish them up afterwards. But yeah, I don't want to speak too much on it, because even though I seem to be immersed in the Eclipse, that's something that I can't quite remember right now. So there's the Steve Bissette, and get a little sample of Tyrant. I only have a single issue of Tyrant, and it is beautiful. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And I mean, I've raved about this before. I think for my money, the Steve Bissette and the Rick Veitch interviews were the best so far on kayfabe. I've loved a lot of their interviews for sure, but I absolutely loved the Bissette interview. Yes, and you're right. You'll know more when you read the journal. Exactly right. A couple more samples there. A little bit of Ninja Turtle action. Yeah, this is a thick issue as well. 128 pages. So a beefy issue. Yeah, so that'll be great. That'll be very interesting, I'm sure. Where have I been putting these? Right there. I only have a few issues of Taboo missing from my collection. Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting pretty damn close. Looks like I'm missing issue number 2, number 6. I have one of the specials. I can't remember if there was a couple of the specials or not, but I'm getting there with them. It's something that doesn't pop up at all. And then didn't Mr. Sakai win a bunch of awards, 3 awards? Did I see that on Twitter today? So here's a Comics Journal issue number 192 from, what do we got here? Oh, this one has some popped staples here, so we'll have to be careful. December 1996. Nice cover, man. Yeah, he won 3 awards, I think. I think it was you that had retweeted that, Damien. There you go. What do we got on the inside? Oh, NBM. Another great company that I wish I found some more stuff floating around here of some Tarzan in there. New distinction in child porn laws raises concern, with some Frank Thorne, some Joe Field from Big Blown Baby. Some Optic Nerve Play. Optic Nerve Play enjoys successful Chicago run. Hey, look at that. Adaptation works on stage. Tomini pleased. Huh, I wasn't aware that it became a stage play. Adrian Tomini, isn't that the name there? Some reviews. Oh man, Kaz, that's a name I haven't seen in a long time. Years ago, I had this oversized. It was gigantic. I think it was called Buzz Bomb, and it was a collection of Kaz stuff. I loved that thing. That thing even traveled with me to school when I was in school, and sitting and reading comics in the lunchroom in between classes or on a spare, hanging out with the guys playing Dungeons and Dragons, which I was never really into at the time. So I would just kind of hang out and listen in and read some comics and stuff. But that Kaz, man, he was great. It's a hell of a book. Pat Moriarty. Oh, some Dave Sim part 2. Let's go to the beginning of this. Second part of our Dave Sim interview. The first part, which appeared in issue number 184. So a second part to the Dave Sim. Oh, some Paul Pope, a part 2 of a Paul Pope interview as well. That's cool. Yeah, lots of good stuff in here. So there we go. Next up, we have issue 189, and it looks like August 1996, and this is Mike Mignola on the cover here. And then Diamond buys Capital, complete news coverage. Oh Mama Manga. Some Eros manga. There we go. There's the Diamond article there. Oh, hey, okay. Keith Green dies. Underground distributor, pioneer underground comics distributor Keith Green died of a heart attack on July 1st, 1996. He was 45 years old. Green first became involved in comics through his brother Justin, the legendary underground cartoonist whose Binky Brown meets the Holy Virgin Mary. Yeah. Oh man, which is such a. I think I've talked about that Binky Brown book before. Love that book. Wonder if it's handy here. No, I guess not. Oh yeah, here we go. Sacred and Profane anyway is here. So that's, and there's Binky Brown returns. So kind of Treasury side, a little bit taller than Treasury side. This is a Treasury sized. It's a Treasury sized bag and board, so it just pokes out a little bit. I love Justin Green stuff. The few things that I have, really, really entertaining. And then here we go. Here's the Mignola. Between Two Worlds, the Mike Mignola interview with some beautiful full-page drawings there too. Excellent. Yeah, looks great. That looks great. So issue 189. What do we got here? Issue number 140 from a date that I can't see. February 1991. The special Walt Kelly issue featuring Kelly's last interview by Gil Kane, Kelly biography, rare sketches, and Bill Watterson on Pogo, plus Maurice Sendak, MoMA, modern art, popular culture. There you go. Walt Kelly, a guy that I know the character. I don't know much about the strip or anything or about him as an artist. So new graphic novels again from Catalan on the back cover. Some Young Blueberry as well. Oh, that's Strike. That's great. Jeremiah. Oh, 13 as well. Another killer series. If you don't know those, that Jeremiah is a lot of fun. I've got a hardcover collection then and a couple of kind of thinner graphic novels, sort of the soft cover style. And they're really, really great. Very entertaining stuff. Comics business faces uncertain future. A state of the industry for 1990 to 1991. I'm sure that'll be very optimistic. Everything will be fine, I'm sure, going into the new year. Oh, some Ted McKeever. Cast of Ted McKeever's Metropole, another all-time favorite. One of the top books for me for sure. Love Metropole. Could never get into Pogo. Yeah, I mean, I know that I've seen it. It's nothing that's ever caught my attention. Oh, hey, Yves Chaland, visionary of Europe's atomic age. Is that, do I have one of his books? Trying to see my shelf from here, and it's not jumping out at me. I thought I did. Dennis Warden, oh my gosh. Yeah, so great. Even just kind of the sidebars and some of the pages. There we go. Just some little gems, hidden gems all over the place. So there we go, Walt Kelly. The substantial sized interview there. Excellent. This may be a double. I don't remember. So this is the special 150th issue. And we've got May 1992. And this one has Mark Schultz on the cover. 11 rockets seized in South Africa. There we go. Yeah, wow, another beefy one. 152 pages this time. Oh, beautiful. Schultz is fantastic. I don't have a lot of his stuff. Did I have a collection of Zenzoic Tales? Maybe it was one of the things that I traded off or sold off. But his art is pretty astounding. It's pretty stellar. Oof. That's great. No, but they did have multiple covers for this one. I think they had 17 different covers for this specific one. Oh, hey, look at that. Comparison and contrast. Schultz absorbs and recasts the spirit of Wood's majestic EC work in Xenozoic Tales. Yeah, there was, I think you missed the beginning part. There was a local guy here my brother grew up with. He owns a used music and movie store actually down right next to one of the comic shops called Galaxy Comics that I go to. So he's also a guy on the Comics Journal, not the Comics Journal, sorry, the Comic Addicts Facebook group. And he recently posted, he recently had a post where he had 3 kind of lots of magazines. I don't remember right now what the other 2 lots were, but one of them was this bunch of Comics Journal. So I grabbed them. I just jumped on them, even though there was a couple that I already had. The price was too good. And then he threw in a bunch of other freebies for me as well, which was really nice of him. But I think these last 3 might be doubles. This is the only one I'm not 100% sure if I have a copy of it or not. I know these last 2 after this, I definitely do. So it'll be something, I don't know. There's not exactly a lot of people that have the journal, so it's not even like I can reach out to someone who may have doubles. So they may become something that I just send off. I'll show them to you, Damien, and if you don't have them, let me know. I can send them off to you if you want the doubles to check out. So that's that one. And like I said, these last 2 I know that I have. So this one is a fantastic issue. It's issue number 144. It's from September 1991, and it's a Tim Truman interview. And then it's guys like Jack Jackson talking about Western comics, not just Blueberry, but kind of the just Western comics in general. And it's a great article as well too. This one I have read. Any Truman stuff that you can get your hands on is always a great read. And then again, some more Catalan on the back. Gita, so isn't that Frank Thorne there? Love these ads. I love the layout of these ads. More Torpedo. Really great. Let's see. We'll flip through. Oh, it looks like some Clowes here as well too. Oh, hey, look at that. I don't remember seeing this part. That is, so Dan Clowes 8-Ball. So a couple of pages from a sketchbook. Dan Clowes sketchbook in the back here. Wow, amazing. That's amazing. I don't remember seeing this. I guess I was just fully absorbed into the Truman and the Jack Jackson that I never flipped through the rest of the magazine. Just looks like 3 pages. Very nice. That's cool. Yeah, here we are. So here's some Tim Truman, obviously talking about Scout. And just a really nice, from what I remember of it, a really nice kind of overview of his career. Again, talking about how he started in kind of RPGs and stuff, and working for one of the magazines, that Ares magazine that I've shown off before. More Truman there. Yeah, and then here we have, I can't remember if it's just Jack Jackson or if they talk to a couple of artists about Western comics. But there's this section on the Western comics. Oh, Lucky Luke. I found it was too beat up. I found a Lucky Luke comic recently. I left it in the shop though, because it was just really beat to hell. Another one I remember from my childhood. We'd see the French. We'd see that in Asterix in our school library. So, and I think there was there a Lucky Luke cartoon as well too? I know that there was an Asterix cartoon, just in French though. So we watched that every once in a while, even though I didn't, and I still don't speak French. Little Pete bag. So yeah, that's cool. And then finally, it's a little bit beaten up, but we have issue number 136 with the Don Lomax cover. And it's from a year that I can't find, July 1990. Yeah, hey, weird when Truman drew Conan. Yeah, I think I flipped. Did I buy a graphic novel so I could read those and then trade it away? I don't remember. Or maybe I just flipped through it. But yeah, he really has done his time in a bunch of stuff. So there we go, some Don Lomax on the cover there. Who else do we have? 1990 Harvey Award nominations. Aircell's Ripper, Racist Trash or Social Satire. The Case for Classics Illustrated. The Legal Defense Fund wants benefits cleared. There's some Ripper. I think I have an issue of this Ripper in one of my dollar bin dives from the Comic Addicts, the local comic junkies. Rick Geary. And there we go. So Vietnam, the war in comics. That's the Lomax stuff there. I know I have this issue as well too. So nice. Look at those pages. That's pretty great. Can't remember if it was it Apple Comics that Lomax did some stuff, or was it Aircell? I don't remember. Or I guess it could have been both. There we go. So yeah, there we go. And then an ad on the back. The Hunting Party. Hell of a read. I think I still have the book. I don't, or maybe I did trade it. No, I did trade it away. I traded it to the guy at the other flea market. It was just something, I felt like it went over my head. It had a lot of kind of Russian history of politics in it. And I felt like I was missing a big chunk of the story because I just don't know. I didn't catch the references. I didn't catch what they were talking about. So I think it was a little too dense for me. That's it. Those are the books. Those are the magazines. Thanks very much for hanging out. So tomorrow, I don't know a time yet, but tomorrow we're going to be doing the chat with Rasa and Dr. Monkeybot over on Dr. Monkeybot's channel. Normally we do the chat at 3:30 Central Standard Time. I know that they had talked about doing it earlier than that, but we hadn't decided on exactly a time yet. So if you're subscribed to his channel, you'll probably get notification. Yeah, I picked up a couple of the New Comics Journal. I think I've got one here. I accidentally bought 2 copies. They were, weeks apart from each other. I guess they didn't have proper record of me because I subscribed to it through my comic shop because it is something I was interested in checking out again. So I have 3 issues, and honestly, I've flipped through them and I started reading a couple of the articles, but there wasn't much that caught my eye. So I don't really. I don't think I've given them a fair shake. I mean, they come out, what? Do they come out quarterly at this point now? So this is issue 305 from Winter Spring 2002. They're really, really dense, 150-ish pages. Like they're beautifully laid out. There's some really nice art. I think part of it for me is that, exactly, yeah, healthcare isn't immediately exciting. That's definitely part of it. But I think the other part of it is when I flip through, there's not a lot of people that I recognize, which isn't, I'm not saying that as a criticism. It's just, I think that because there's not a lot of people, I'm not as up to speed on some of the new kind of independent or underground-ish type of artists that are out there. So there aren't names that jump out at me going, oh, wow, I really want to read what that article is. And they do some nice, see if I can make this work here, a nice fold out and everything in it. But like you said, you see that kind of cover and it's like, well, I don't know, is that something that I'm going to be interested in reading? And who knows, maybe I'd sit down and read it and it would be the most engaging article. But I just know that the little bit that I have tried in the new issues, they didn't grab me right away. So maybe I need to give them a better, more of a chance. But so far, they have a nice spot on the shelf, and it's really pristine, and they sit there nicely, and they've sat there. So I still have this copy because I'm going to bring it back to the shop, and he's going to kind of take it back from me and trade me the value for something else. So make sure I put that somewhere it doesn't get fucked up. Is it us or the new generation of underground artists just less accessible and less popular? I don't know, man. I think it's a mix, right? Like I know for myself, even when I think of music, how much I was into music, I would read music journalism. I would read reviews. I would actively and read tons of reviews. The one that stands out to me was Aquarius Records. Every 2 weeks, they had a new list where they talked about comics. Or sorry, not comics. They talk about music and they'd listen to samples. That was almost such a part of my DNA and part of my daily routines. It was the same with comics. When you're into a certain style, even when years ago on this channel where I was supporting comic companies like Retrofit and smaller indie labels and buying their stuff and checking their website all the time, there was a lot of names that I would see all the time. I think part of it is definitely you have to really be in that niche and really following all this stuff and following who these other artists that you enjoy are following. It also might be a thing of there's just a hell of a lot of them and it's next to impossible to keep up, and less accessible, absolutely, and just less popular very well could be as well. Maybe there's just so many people and they're not really making much waves because they're not really doing anything that's worth not worth talking about, but they're not doing a lot out there that's really shaking up the comics as a medium, right? Because even flipping through that one, there's a bunch of different art styles in there, different artists, and they all seem to be kind of relatively similar art style, and that art style just doesn't appeal to me. It's nothing that has appealed to me in the past either. So I think it's a combination of all of that, but I know for myself, it's definitely the engagement that I have with it. I'm just not chasing down those things as much anymore. I found kind of the niche things that I'm into and I'm chasing those down, but I'm not keeping up at all with any new stuff that's coming out, independent or otherwise. I go into that comic shop and it's great to flip around and look through books and stuff, but I don't recognize anything. I don't recognize names or even some companies, right? So but yeah, I think for you, it's probably a bit easier. It seems like Portland, some of the shops that you've talked about before, there may be more of an opportunity to discover some of these people. I know here in Winnipeg, it's just not that kind of place. The shops aren't getting in a lot of small press or a ton of indie books and taking chances. They just can't afford to. It costs a hell of a lot of money just to get them here. Yeah, the Now magazine is something that I want to continue. I've read a number of issues of Fantagraphics Now magazine, and nothing makes a lasting impression. Maybe it's just me, and that's the same thing that I thought too, because I only have, do I have one issue or two issues? And it was the exact same impression I had, that nothing jumped out to me and nothing really grabbed me. I can't remember who had mentioned it. I think they mentioned it to both of us, that the new issues are worth giving a try. I don't remember if that was Weird Dad or who that was exactly. Somebody had mentioned it recently, or maybe it was even Chris, if he's still here in the room. That the newer issues of now are pretty damn good. So they're back on my radar as something I'd like to check out again. It feels like it's a little bit of kind of Island, you know, when Brandon Graham was doing Island, there was a couple of things that I liked, but as it kind of continued, it was just less I was really interested in. It just wasn't, there was something about it that just wasn't like, you know, grabbing me by the guts, you know, entertaining enough to read, but not a ton. Earl Grey, oh, he did, eh? Okay, I'll have to go back in his archives and check it out. I don't think I've seen that one, where he looks through a bunch of them, I'm assuming. I'll have to check it out. He's got some great stuff and has some good things to say. Yeah, so anyway, tomorrow it'll be a chat with Rasa and Adam and myself. Thanks for hanging out, Damien, Chris, Rez, nice to see you. We'll talk to you soon, hey? Probably see you tomorrow.